Hi, I'm Vania, and I wanted to talk to you today about foot care. Different people ask me about what I do, and I have to admit I don't have a steady schedule of stretching or taking care of my feet, although maybe I should. But I do whatever I feel like my feet need at that time. The stuff that most people think about is, of course, stretching your calves, on the ground, on the stairs, massaging them. Everybody thinks about that. That's why I'm not going to be talking about it. I wanted to point out something that I find very important. The toes are supposed to be very, very flexible in different directions. So one thing that I always find good is stretching my foot in different directions like this, and also making sure that every now and then at least I practice opening my toes by lifting them up, putting them on the floor, and then starting to pull inwards. I'm trying to really pull with the big toes toward the inside. That's basically the muscles that would be countering a bunion. So we're trying to work out the muscles here on the inside of the toes, strengthen them. And also I'm going to lower the camera a little bit. One thing that I would do when I'm sitting down is spread my toes and move them around. Just play with that a little bit, give them a little bit of air to breathe. That can be a little painful if you've never done it before, so be gentle and be careful. That applies for everything that you do. If you have not been doing any exercises, if it's the first time or if anything hurts, it means that you need to be more gentle with what you're doing. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it works for you too right now, because after all, I'm a professional dancer, and you might have never done anything like that. Another one is take your fingers and start putting them one by one in between your toes and see if you can spread them and move them around. Again, that might not work out for you right now. It's not a problem, but it's possible to do. It's probably also a little bit of matter of how big are your hands compared to your feet. Might not work out, but it's something to try. Another thing, massaging the feet. This is my best friend, the torture instrument called the rumble roller. God, that's difficult for me. Rumble roller. The rumble roller is something that I would stand on, or I would just walk on, or in some other form or shape, depending on how much my feet hurt. Massaging my feet just by putting a little bit of pressure or rolling it a little bit. This is not for the faint of heart. As you can see, all of those protrusions are made so that you can get more tension, or more pressure on your feet, and have more of a stretch and breaking the fascia that builds in your feet. Now, this is not exactly your travel size. So, for example, tomorrow when I go to teach in New Orleans, I'm going to be taking this one with me instead. This is just a lacrosse ball because it does the same function as the rumble roller. I can massage my feet with it, or I can massage my calf, just sliding along it up and down. But it travels much easier than a rumble roller, obviously. Again, if any of this hurts, this is actually, I've worked myself up to a lacrosse ball from using a tennis ball. The tennis balls are a little bigger and a little softer, so if this is too intense for you, then you might want to get a tennis ball. Something else that you know are these guys, yogi toes. You know how to put them on, starting from the small toe, and then you just kind of put them over The idea of this thing is it stretches the toes, as you can see. There are different materials actually that they make them from. This is particularly soft. I find it really nice. Or maybe they've just changed the technology. My first ones years ago were really hard. So this is something to not keep on your feet for too long. You want to just have them for maybe 10 minutes or something like that. Definitely do not sleep with them on because you can hurt yourself. Something that you can sleep with, or at least I do, is these guys. The person that sells them calls them yoga paws. As you can see here inside, I think that you can still see it. They have a, a part that protrudes. This is, I just turned it inside out. So right now, if I'm holding my fingers on it here, you can see kind of what I'm holding. And what this does is, I'm going to put it on. As you can see, you have the space for every little toe. There's a little bit of a separation, but it's soft enough in order not to have your toes overstretched. This is kind of the normal stretching, or a little more than the normal stretching of my toes. And it has this guy in here. That's the part that you were seeing before. So once I start, these are brand new, that's why this is so big. Once I start walking on it, it's going to press and massage my foot. And also you can see how when I press on it, the upper part of my foot kind of extends. That's what it's supposed to be like. Since I have really high arches, I need stuff that kind of stretches my foot. If I press here and it stretches the top part of it. There's something called, they call them drops, that are basically little things that you can glue in your shoes and they will stretch your foot a little bit like that. Last thing of the portable stuff is this guy called a Cryomax. The Cryomax is basically just a little pocket with ice inside. You can travel with it in your carry-on as long as the ice is frozen. So make sure that you have it in the freezer before you travel, and then it does not annoy the TSA workers. They don't register it at all, or if they do, they still don't care. At least that's my experience. Before somebody says, they took my Cryomax. Okay, last thing, insoles. Since we're talking about the high heels, high arches. What I have is I have insoles in my shoes. These don't have the drop. I'm going to show you another one afterwards. You see that they're transparent. This is the best brand so far that I found. If you find something better, let me know. It has a little bit of an arch support here in the middle. I think you can see it. But the trick is what happens here on the back. This is the old version of the insole. This is the new one. Let's see. The company that makes them is this. They are called, yeah, there we go. They're called Vivian Lou. I'm going to put a link toward them afterwards. They have so far, or at least last time I checked, they had two forms of their, or two versions of their insoles. What makes them, this is the second version, they're much narrower, as you can see, than the previous one, and they're longer. I think that this is a drop, like what I was telling you, that helps for somebody like me. I'm going to just unglue it. The protective film here right now has a little bit of a glue on the back just to be able to stick to that, and you see how it's going to be. So what I was saying is the trick is back here. You can see that this part is really thin, and you can see that up here there's something like a hump. So what that does is when you put them in the shoe, basically this hump lifts up the front part of your heel and pushes your heel slightly back. So it, or your hip slightly back. So it feels like you're wearing actually a lower heel. When I got my first pair of these, actually I have only these so far that I've used, I tried them on in my 4-inch heels without gluing them, just putting them in, and I could feel the difference. So these are something that I'm really excited about trying. I just hate shoe shopping, and I need a new pair of shoes to put these in, because once you glue them, you want to keep them there. You can't just like put them in there and move around. They won't stay. You have to find the spot where to put them. That's a little tricky, I gotta say. It's not my favorite thing to do, but once you find the proper spot for them, they're just amazing. And that's it. So make sure you have shoes that fit you well. I know how difficult that is with my feet. That's why I hate shoe shopping. Um, Find insoles if you need some in order to be able to be balanced. Stretch your toes, massage them. Epsom salt is always good. Something like icing them helps. And that's that. Take it seriously if your feet hurt. Don't think it's normal. They should not be hurting. With enough exercise, if they still hurt, then you might want to see somebody who can give you some advice. Very often people come to me and say, my feet hurt in this or that manner, and I try to figure out what exercises to give them or how to change their alignment, because in the end, tango should not hurt. If you're healthy otherwise, if your feet are healthy otherwise, then you're probably doing something wrong if you're dancing and your feet are hurting, or you're just not taking good care of them. And that's that. So thank you for watching, and have a good rest of the week.